Oh, TikTok. Awesome. Welcome, everyone, to Late Night Restaurant Show. Dominic's in BC. I don't know where he is, but he's there somewhere doing something. So we wish him all the luck. I'm not going to knock him. He's getting cranky by it. So anyways, we've got a great show tonight. She's a rock star. I'm just like amazing that we have this amazing lady on the show tonight. I'm going to try to get Jackson a little bit more caffeine. He's a little tired today. I'm on holidays. But I've got a great show. I can't believe that. I love this part about podcasts. You just be honest with people, tell them what's going on. And I'm on TikTok, so hello over here on TikTok. And you know what? I always say we're going to have a great show. All of our shows are bloody great. Anyways, this one's super special, so we're going to go right into it here. And hold tight. Listen to this. Also, we're not a podcast. All these shows are recorded and put up with the other podcasts. Maybe one day we'll grow up to be a big podcast. But we're just not a podcast. So don't think we're a podcast. Pretend we're a podcast. You may listen on other podcast channels. But if you're not listening, missing out. Anyways, enjoy this. I'm going to go drink something strong. And let's have some fun tonight. Cheers. Hey, Rebecca.
Hi, Jay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm like, I might as well start my grieving on the show. Like my complaining. I haven't had a coffee today. I'm on this stupid tea stuff, and it has no caffeine in it. So,
Well, I thought I was going to get to see Dominic get up and make a sandwich in the middle of the show. So I'm already complaining and grieving at the beginning too. So I'm a little sad to hear this.
You know, it's so funny. Like, I love the fact that he just doesn't care. Like, I love it. Right? Like, he sits there and he doesn't really care. It's just so bizarre. But anyways, thanks again for joining us. You know, we've done a lot of shows over the years and had amazing guests on it. And I'm just so excited to have you on the show and talk about all the awesome stuff you do with the National Wrestling Association and all the amazing stuff you do when it comes to ServSuccess. You're incredible. I always follow you. I see what you're doing out there. First of all, I think you like having some awesome places. You like going out to awesome places for dinner. And I see some of your pictures on stuff on Instagram. You look like you're a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I mean, we've been connecting for a long time, so I'm actually really excited to be here. We literally have been talking about this since I think the day after the NRA show, and
Was it the day after? It's been that long?
Something like that, but we've talked, but our schedules just actually couldn't align even until tonight, which is insane.
You know what? I'm going to put my headphones on because I always feel naked when I don't have my headphones on. But yeah, it's been a while. Hey, like, when did the show end?
Around May 21st, I want to say. I should know. But I think around May 21st, usually 22nd-ish.
Yeah. You know, it's a lot of fun. And first of all, the National Wrestling Association, I want to work there. The National Wrestling Association show is one of the best. It's not the best. It's incredible. I had a blast when I went there. You know what? I wish I had more time to actually enjoy this. It was incredible. Can't wait to get back.
I wish I had more time to enjoy the show because I feel like.
Do you even get time?
I do actually.
You
They're
do?
really amazing about that. We generally come in, have a sales meeting. We each work a portion of it. I generally have a speaking engagement, which isn't very long. I help with our workshop with ServSuccess, which is led by the amazing Sarah Bray. And usually we have some people jump in for that as well. But they give us a lot of time so that we can engage with our customers, our prospects, and actually have time to walk the floor, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I got a little bit of time too, and it was just like, oh, it was so good. And I only saw, I bet you I didn't see all of it. I tried to, um, but you definitely get your steps in. They ain't kidding when they say bring good shoes. Like they're not kidding at all. But it was a lot of fun. I can't wait to go back next year. But let's talk about you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about you. Let's let our viewers and the people who are going to be listening to this show or watching this show, a little bit about you, ServSuccess, all the things that you've been doing, and this amazing thing that you've created that you shared with me a little bit ago, a few months ago. I think it's outstanding. We want to bring it up into Canada, and I feel like I got my twang today on my twang. So I got a little
It is
twang
going a little strong. I love it
a
though.
little twang. You want a little twang? Wow. I'm not even like, never mind. But
I'm a Colorado girl, so you can hear it when I say things like
maybe
Colorado,
I'm picking up
Arvada,
Colorado. Maybe I'm
certain
picking up a little.
things.
I know when I talk to people from Texas, I get the text, like when I'm down in like Houston, I will get the little bit of their Texas accent.
Oh yeah,
I love it. I love
it's
it.
fun.
So anyways, how long you've been in the industry quite a while too, right?
Yeah, I've been in the industry, gosh, I mean, not as long as many. I still consider myself green compared to so many people. That I was just at Chart, and we had the Council of Hotel and Restaurant Trainers last week, and we were giving out awards for people who have been there for 25 years. So when I look at that, I consider my 12 to 14 years, I have to look back at this point to be green compared to that, but definitely well over 10 years.
Wow. So, okay, we'll talk about the event you're at in a second because I think that's cool. I want to learn about that. So, did you start off in training and development?
I started, essentially, I started out. So, keep in mind, my background was in cosmetology. I was worked in clinical skincare, did hair, worked with plastics and germs, completely not anything that had to do with this. Ironically, when I was in high school, I did the high school program, and then, your normal go to high school, right?
Yeah.
But they had the vocational program, so I could avoid doing PE, home ec, all of those fun things I didn't really want to do. And there were two routes I could take that I was interested in through the vocational program: culinary or cosmetology. So it is not lost on me that I took cosmetology and ended up here. So I was
sewing.
but you can, that's a great thing to know
I took it for the wrong reasons.
Probably, which is understandable. Very understandable.
I'm so sorry.
But you can always use it.
Yes, I can sew like you. It's so funny because my daughter was getting into sewing and she's like, "Dad, what do I do?" I said, "Don't trust me. I'll show you how to do this." I'm like threading the machine. And she's like, "Are you kidding me? You know how to do all this?" I'm like, I could sew you anything. So anyways, enough from me.
Yeah, I know. So I have to apologize, everyone. Jay and I digress so bad, so we have to stay on track. And we've had so many conversations. We've become such quick friends. So I'll refocus us. So I was trying to I just was done with the cosmetology industry. I was burnt out. One of my girlfriends said you should get into food, and that's in this industry can mean anything. Yeah. Anything, but I didn't even know what that meant at the time. So I'm looking for new jobs, and my dog happened to have torn her ACL. So I was home with her for like a week. I'd taken some time off. Well, I found this little company called Restaurant Technologies, and they called me back and said, "We're interested in interviewing you." And my next door neighbor worked for the health department. And so when they had called me and said, "Well, you're going to be working in frying oil, and sometimes it gets in your shoes and it gets on your clothes." And I went, "Do you think I could handle this?" And she was like, "Oh, you'll be fine." Her name's Susie. And it was one of the best jobs I've ever had. It's where I started. It's where I began. It's where I spent so much time in the back of the house. So I actually learned, how to work in the back of the house, understand the flow of the kitchen. But I got in and actually trained people how to properly rotate frying oil, how to look at quality of food, how to understand cross-contamination. And that's where it all began. And I just began to fall in love with it. And that's kind of where the compliance side of me geeked out. And it was incredible. And that's actually where I met one of my biggest mentors in the industry, which I can get into later. But it was one of the most fun jobs I've ever had. And it was a great place to start. Just incredible.
Well, I think first of all, I think you took the right road, because you're so powerful in the passion of what you do. You can feel it, and it's incredible. So let's talk a little bit about. I want to just kind of go over here. So we got your journey. You found your place. Now, how did you get over to the National Restaurant Association?
Oh, it's a long journey, so I'm going to keep this short because we only have so much time.
Did I just jump?
Literally, if you all want to know, go to my LinkedIn. It's Rebecca Berry. Just look up National Restaurant Association.
You're big enough to just Google. So,
Yeah. So it's just because I've had so many jumping points. But essentially, I went from there. They moved me out to California. I wanted to come home. My position had been taken. So I went and worked with what is now Trimark, so a dealer, into a manufacturer, and then stepped into Hot Schedules, which was a great leap.
Rebecca.
Yes.
I remember Hot Schedules.
I love Hot Schedules. David Cantor, one of the founders.
I think I brought Hot Schedules to Canada.
We had that conversation.
Did we have that?
Yes. No, I mean, we've had a lot of conversations.
But I remember bringing it in because I remember from our perspective, we never had talked about that kind of resource before in Canada. And it was like a whole different world. It was a whole different world. Because it was online, first of all, because most of them were before that was a binder, and it was incredible. I remember Hot Schedules, man. And
you may have used Redbook Connect, which was the paper version of it. So they're actually the same. They were the same company.
Were they the same company?
Yep. Mm-hmm. They merged, and I believe they
did. Redbook disappear then?
Redbook is still around actually, because people still use that paper version. But ironically, part of that journey, I met a consultant there by the name of Rick Nichols, who is my second top mentor. And I presented at Chart this week on mentors, and that's another spiel for later. There's so much we could talk about. And I get goosebumps thinking about this because I owe Rick so much of my career. Rick was part of a little startup that was outside of the industry, which was a payroll company that had to do with a different industry. And he said, hey, I think you should take a look at this little startup. It's going to be great. So I left Hot Schedules, went to this little startup. It changed. It was kind of not going the direction I wanted to go. And ironically, it was the time that Forth acquired or merged with Hot Schedules out of the UK, which Forth is a PEO, a professional employer organization. It's like a payroll company on steroids. They merged to have an end-to-end solution with Hot Schedules. I was in Austin meeting friends for lunch. They said, you should come back. I said, that's ridiculous. They said, no, really. I came back, pandemic hit. Stayed. I fortunately was not let go. I worked for a great guy, Thomas French, at the time. And I hung on board. Paychex actually picked me up, which was great because I could still work specifically with the industry, but the industry was pretty much shut down, but I could still work with other avenues of different industries while focusing on hospitality. So fast forward, and I'm doing great. Love working for Paychex. And somebody slid into my DMs in my LinkedIn inbox, and it was the National Restaurant Association. And they were trying to revive this little project that they had to put on hold because of COVID to focus in on ServSafe and health and food safety, obviously during COVID. And the job description literally matched my ideal, perfect dream job if I was to ever have one.
Serious.
And it was, of course, it's the time when you're not looking, right? Where you're like, you know what? Things are great. Everything has a hiccup every now and then, right? Nothing's perfect in life. But it was like, I've got this perfect trajectory of my pipeline. Things are going great. I like my boss. And I couldn't turn it down. So the program had already been created. They just needed somebody to help breathe some air back into it and get it into the market. And so they brought me in, and I have an incredible team. I have an amazing product manager, Yvonne Lloyd. My marketing team is stellar, and we've really had to put our heads together and just bring this thing out. We finished our manager suite in May, and I guess I should share really what ServSuccess is then.
Well, okay, here's a couple things. I always say this now because people think I get paid to do this stuff. This is a non-paid advertisement.
That is true.
This is I have to say this shit now. I have to say this to you because it's incredible. But your program is so good, and it is so needed right now. And why I say this is I was on a different show, I don't know when, recently. And one of the things they said, and maybe I'm wrong here, but there's more and more people changing their careers midlife now, like mid-career journey, I guess. I don't know when you would say that, but let's say in their 30s or 40s, people are changing their careers. They're not staying long-term in where they started. And then at that change, I forget the percentage, it's huge now, which is good because why stay with one when you can have all these experiences and to get better. They said that a lot of those people are not going back to school for education or content or like to better themselves or to learn more. So they're looking for programs like you have. And it didn't dawn on me until I heard that. I was like, you know what? You're right. I hear so many people, the days of the old, because trust me, if I went back to university, I'd probably be one of those guys. But I remember in school, when I was in university, there was like these older people that were in class. And they were going back to learn more, to try a different journey in their life. And I think it's so cool that you offer that ability to continue learning outside of going to schools and things like this. And I think it's incredible. First of all, there's that part. Second part is what you do just to better people within the industry. I'm like blown away by that because I think everyone needs that. And I saw some of the certifications and what you offer. Like it's top shelf. Plus then you have like, I want a certificate just with the National Restaurant Association logo.
I know. And
on my chart. Like,
you can get just a you won't get the certification, but you actually get a certificate of completion for completing each course. So you still get something with our name on it. And I have,
I hope you know that. I don't know if I told you this, Rebecca, but I have your name on my logo because I'm a part of the association show.
I love it. I know. I love it. But I've always wanted our logo somewhere tied. And now I'm like, I have it.
Cool. I know, right? Like, it's so cool. So tell us more about ServSuccess and all the amazing things it does. Because, first of all, it's top shelf. It's by the best. Tell us. And then you're leading it. It even gets better, right? So
ServSuccess is a career development and training program that was developed by industry leaders to create industry leaders. We partnered with the Department of Labor and, again, thought leaders in the industry to create a retention program, career pathing program to keep employees in the industry and to keep a career path. I always say to go from a job to a profession. And what we've done is really engaged employees to be better and to want to get to the next level. 23% of our industry doesn't even have a high school diploma. We're offering them an actual education while they're at work to scale the next level. So it's everything from your basic entry level skills all the way to learning to lead to the full management level. So things like greeting a guest, learning how to work together, and then going from buddy to boss to learning basic cost controls into conflict resolution, mentor programs, working with vendors, marketing your establishment. But along the way, you're not just getting this, you're going to career progression or promotion, but you're building people, right? You're building confidence. There's a group that we did a really big pilot with. And I always say they make some darn good chicken, but they build damn good people. And it's true, because that's what this is about.
I love it.
And I have to tell everybody, by the way, I'm drinking a ton of water because I had a ton of speaking engagements last week, and I'm going into another one.
Now you lose your voice. I haven't had someone lose their voice on my
But
Yeah.
and also 22% of our managers have postgrad degrees. So what if we can scale our managers with giving them actual certifications in management? Because we don't want to stop our managers from continuing to lead and mentor. Like they don't want to just hit a management level and go, okay, that we're managers and we're continuing to mentor. We want to improve that as well and continue mentorship programs. So there's so much that goes on. We had 56% of employees said that they had conflict and stress at work that led them to anxiety and not wanting to go in. And so teaching conflict resolution skills is so key. So we're giving those skill sets. It's all online. We have those 3 different levels, but everything's a la carte. It's not built to remove your training. It's to fit in with your brand specific training, or for an independent franchisee, we're working with franchise groups to have it built into a program. So when they drop their, all-in-one box program, it's part of the agreement, because a lot of our franchisees don't come from the industry. So it's part of educating the franchisee too, to understand the industry, to train their team well. So again, our goal is to keep people in the industry, keep them engaged, and to make them love their job again. But it fits in well with training that the brands have. So we're not removing, it's like I always tell people, it's like the first time I haven't had to uplift a full system and go, okay, well, that's great that you do this, but we're going to remove everything and replace it. It's plug and play to fill in the gaps and plug the holes. But also so our supervisor suite is accredited. We are working on getting our manager accredited because it was just finished. So there's actually credits that go in there as well.
Whoa.
So it's like, I love it. It's so exciting. Like our industry needs this.
But it's got to feel good too, Rebecca, knowing that you're making a huge change in people's lives.
There was a gal during our pilot that started tearing up when her manager, or the gal who was leading the pilot with us, was getting feedback. And when she started telling me the story, I went, your first initial reaction is somebody's crying, right? I'm like, what went wrong? She said, no. She was so happy that she got an opportunity to have education in an industry, because she didn't know she would get this, and know that this is actually going to be a career path for her. And people don't realize we can make so much money in this, and people downplay this industry so much. And whenever I hear people say, well, they're just a bartender, or they're just this, and it infuriates me, because there's so much passion in this industry, and people can go from being a bus guy or gal to from a host up to a CEO. I mean, I know plenty of people who have gone up through the ranks in a tougher way without a career path, without having these right steps with somebody to guide you and say, okay, we don't have a position open right now, but let's work on, sharpening your skills so that when we do, you're ready to go. Or, your skill set isn't ready and we do, but let's get you there. There's better coaching tools.
Yeah. I find that our industry, so first of all, a lot of the people, like I'm surprised with the percentage that don't have, education or high school degrees, or, finished high school. I actually think it's my feeling that's low. I think it's a little bit higher, possibly, because I feel they're hardworking people, and we know, like, especially in Canada, we have a lot of immigration that works into the industry that's coming from different countries. They either have not much education or a whole bunch of education. It's kind of, like, I've met with people who are like, yeah, I'm an engineer, I'm working at Wendy's. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy. The part that I love is that I'm going to say all in the industry really just wants to do well at their career. Like, they have this drive. Like, we have to look at the dynamics of it. Low paid, it's a very low paid industry. It's a hardworking industry. You're serving others, right? Like, you're taking care of people in a service model. It's not glamorous all the time. It has its ups and downs. I love it. I've had a great life doing it, but it is challenging. So when you have the opportunity to better yourself and go further in your career by taking courses and having someone to support you, it's incredible. Like, I just love the fact that you help people get better and stronger at what they do, and to allow them to have a career within our industry, so they don't be working somewhere else. And they don't teach us a lot of these things, especially when you go to a culinary school,
right,
or they don't really have a lot of these areas that are taught. You usually have to learn through the hard times, right? Like, who told you how to serve or be a hostess or a server, those kind of programs. If you had a great restaurant that you work for, yes, but typically a lot of people are learning, the shadowing beside the person kind of thing.
Right.
All
and
these
we're talking about things like teaching people how to cross train. We're also teaching people how to work with each other, how to greet a guest. And I'm trying to work more on allergens are so prevalent nowadays too. Like we have ServSafe allergens, but I'm trying to also do more webinars and fireside chats with people who are influencers and advocates for it, to also discuss empathy and how to greet people with it, how to talk to the kitchen. So we're really trying to educate more on the empathy side and the compassion side of the industry. And there's so much that goes into our industry, and 37% of our employees are under the age of 25. So we have an opportunity to bring them up and educate them immediately to where they can be successful from day one. And there's so much to offer. And there, again, mentorship programs, conflict resolution, career pathing, it all goes with that. And all of these programs that we have at our disposal that are affordable, by either owner operators, establishments, large corporations, whatever it may be, by the individuals themselves. But there's also a ton of other organizations, grants. So a lot of the states have grants. I know Cisco in Canada has some partnerships depending on, certain levels of customers, different types of things. But there's a lot of ways around it to get this into your concept and into your employees' hands. And especially right now, because we're in the new, essentially, relaunch of it, we're really working with people to make sure it can work with their budget, because the important thing for me is getting the employees trained. It costs $5,864 for a full service hourly employee to turn.
Wow.
So when you say I can't afford training, well, if you have an employee churn every day at $5,864 worth of cost, by the time you rehire somebody to fill them, you can afford the training, trust me. And so, and we will make it work, because my passion and goal is to keep people, again, educated in the industry, wanting to stay, because they will teach others. We pass it down.
I'm assuming the retention for locations that take on this program is going to be huge.
Tremendously huge.
Yeah.
Because people stay.
People stay. There's an invest in them, right?
And they're happy. They're happy because they're engaged. Disengaged employees cost more because they start to pull down engaged employees. Engaged employees flourish, and they continue mentoring younger employees or up-and-coming employees. And they also reach out to other resources to continue their path of growth. And I love that.
There's two things. So first of all, I think that's super important, the engagement level. Do you find a lot of locations that you meet or you get to work with, do you see a disconnect of engagement, or is that just word of mouth?
There's always one. There's always one employee somewhere in there, but and I can tell by the surveys we do.
Oh, okay.
We'll have like 90% be like, this is great. Or at least I liked it. It was good. Or kind of a neutral. And then we'll have that one person. And I'm like, there's your disengaged person. I don't know who it is. But judging by the response, I'm sure you know who it is. But it really depends. And I can tell by ownership. It's usually the ownership that keeps saying, we need to do this, and our employees aren't doing that. But they continuously don't put in a solution. They don't invest. And they're not taking the time to see the ROI. And I will tell you, the right partner in the industry will help you to make that investment, whether it's basing out payments for that investment in your employees or cultivating, the right program. Like I always joke that I am the worst salesperson ever. Literally, like I will be like, you know what, let's start off with a few courses, because you don't want to overwhelm them. Because if they haven't done this program yet, they're never going to take 5 courses in a row. So start small. We can always build, because it's true. You don't want to invest all of this money and then force them into something they haven't done before, because it's overwhelming with them with a full-time job, families, time, whatever they may be doing, school. So, we really consult each and every client before we tell them what to take, because it's important to do the right thing.
Yeah, well, first of all, so there's a lot to pick from, first of all.
Yes.
And there's got to be, obviously, where do you start, right? Like, where do people mostly start with this? Like, is it, like, what's that look like, first of all?
Generally, yeah.
Walk us through that. No, walk us through that.
Honestly, generally right now, manager retention is the biggest focus that we're seeing, because when you look at where we're at with full service, we're at about 100% turnover within the last 6 months. Limited is decreasing, was at about 150%. What? Yes. But concepts that kept their GM for 12 months actually had 24 points lower in turnover than concepts that didn't. So the focus is on keeping a good leader, keeping a good GM, because they will help with the retention. So we're seeing a lot more focus on that. So generally, we start off within the supervisor, general manager type of area. So the manager, supervisor courses, which again, they're all a la carte. So we kind of blend them in. We do, the professional suite, which is the kind of first level, is fantastic. But where we're really seeing a lot of the need for that hefty uplift is within that manager suite and within the supervisor. So we work those in. I do have a group that has a lot of students that come in. So she uses the professional level to really start to teach them how to work with people and engage, because it's their first job, which is amazing. Like, she sees the value in it, because she's like, I want to be the one to teach them how to greet somebody, how to actually smile and shake their hands and say, welcome, to our concept. And so she uses a lot of our courses for that. But we're really seeing the retention piece start at the manager.
Do you ever do some people go direct? Like, they don't go through their restaurant they're working at, or are they just taking? Can they do that as well?
They can go online, but I highly recommend you contact. Even if you're an individual, contact me, because
bottom line, just call Rebecca.
Yes, because you can go direct to the website, but I'll work with you on pricing every time. I want to make sure that simple. Yes, I want to make sure you're getting the best deal. If you just go straight to the website, there's no discount involved.
I'm assuming you guys have probably looked at also the future, that this is only going to get bigger.
It is. And I'm very excited for what's to come. But my product team will kill me if I put anything else on them right now.
Come on, Rebecca, tell us.
I keep being like, we need to bring out, like, because I do have food allergies. So I'm very passionate about the food allergy world. Again, we have ServSafe allergies, which is very important, and everybody should take that. But I'm talking about the actual guest interaction and going and talking to the kitchen and having the guest experience conversation on how to train on that. And I'm actually in discussions with Fig, the Fig app. I work with a couple of their team members on webinars, and I'm working on their beta program here in Denver with getting restaurants online with their app. So it's been very exciting to partner with them. I love them. So I'd love to bring something there. We're looking at some other suites that are coming out shortly. But we will continue to grow this program. And we love thought leaders. So I love ideas to come into me of what are we missing? What is trending? What is important to you? And, throughout the up and coming years, we will continue to build on this. But again, we're in our infancy, so it's exciting, right? I mean, we've been wanting to do this for so long, but that darn COVID thing kind of knocked us out of the water, but it gave me a chance to come on board. So
yeah, I think it's all timing too,
it
right?
Is. Very much so.
I really think what you're doing is just how, like, first of all, I know it's going to be successful because you're attached to it, and your passion, your dedication. And I just love that you get to help people every day and get better at what they're doing within the industry. Like, that's just awesome. I get to do a little bit of that today. And it's awesome when you see people become, almost like they become better, and you see them almost like physically change. I find,
yes,
like you see them, walking around differently, or because I remember back in the day, and a lot of restaurateurs, it's weird in a way, but I think sometimes servers live like two lives, right? Like they have the restaurant life, and then they have their home life. And I think sometimes they can use some of the skill sets that they find in the restaurants for home. And this kind of stuff will help not only your career, but your home life. Do you find that too, Rebecca?
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, the in here. It's the self-confidence.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's the building people where all of a sudden you see people blossom, you see them change. We have a gal, Jackie, with Slim Chickens, who, I'm not kidding you, Jay. We went in and recorded the video of how the pilot went. And she said, in 6 months, I want to be in the corporate office. I'm not kidding you. 6 months to the day, I was out there for a training at the corporate office. And I said, Jackie, what are you doing here? She said, I told you I wanted to be in the corporate office. She took our training and she worked her
Tushy.
I know I was trying to find the right word, but I guess it doesn't matter. I'm like, there's not going to be any editing in this, so I need to watch what I'm saying. But she, because remember, Rebecca, there's nothing that's going to be edited here. But she literally took that training and worked so hard, and in 6 months to the day, she was in the corporate office.
Wow.
And met her goal. So we have her testimonial out, and it says GM, but she's not a GM anymore.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
I want the whole world to understand this is a lot of these people don't I always say this, and I say this with the most respect because I'm one of them, is we're like the misfits, right? Like we're the ones that came out of high school. Maybe we went to college for a year when I don't want to do that. And then we somehow got tied into the industry, or we didn't have the huge, awesome marks, but we worked hard. So we went into a restaurant because a restaurant accepts, I find the industry kind of accepts all, right? Like it accepts all. So when you see people starting to grow as a stronger, even as a server or manager or a leader or a GM of a location or, a regional leader or manager, it's just incredible to see these people because you took them on, there's two paths that they could have took and you put them on the right path, and to find them and being able to see them, either buy a car or get a house or get a home, all these things to better their life because of what, you guys have done and what this industry's done for that. It doesn't get better than that. It just doesn't. It really doesn't. Because you see them in high school and you're like, okay, well, I'm working at the KFC or I'm working at the dirty, McDonald's or whatever. I call it Dirty Bird and all these other things. And then you see them grow up. Like I remember, this is the other part I want to mention to you because I say this every time we get into these kind of topics. Okay. First of all, every movie and every show that says, oh, well, you're going to work at McDonald's can stuff it. Okay. Because they can stuff it. Because I know a guy that did that in high school. And he has pictures on his Instagram of him and his Lambo. So you can stuff it, okay? Because he owns McDonald's.
They grow up to be franchise owners who own tons of franchises, and they're making tons of money because also McDonald's is a real estate company. Yeah, they're not a restaurant.
Exactly, right? So we think about it, right? So stuff all those times you see in the movie, work at McDonald's. Yeah, you know what? It's a great place to work, to start in the career as well. They do great things there. But so Rebecca, so you can't tell us what the next move is. What's your next move? Are you going to stay? Are you going to stay with these guys? Going to do amazing stuff? Going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger?
Oh yeah, we're going to take this thing next level. I've got plans. Again, I can't let my product team take a breather for a little while, but I'm traveling like crazy. I can't even say through the end of the year because so I was at the council. I'll back it up. I was at the Council of Hotel and Restaurant Trainers, which is CHART. It is an amazing organization.
They get all together. The trainers get all together.
Yes. So it's all the trainers from all of these organizations, Canada, everywhere included. Fantastic. Wow. So my second week of work was at this conference. I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't even know our product line at that point. And I'm like, what is going on? I happen to just know a buddy of mine who happened to work for Skooks was there at the time. He doesn't work there anymore. But so I was like, oh, thank God, I know somebody. And I fell in love with it. So my second conference, actually the second conference I was not at for personal reasons. So the conference before this one was like, I'm all in. It is all about sharing, caring, growing, learning. So everybody just is so engaged, sharing all their knowledge together. It's networking with like peers. There's new people that come in every time. It's all about welcoming them, helping them understand. And so a gal who has been with Chart forever happened to be in Colorado for the Colorado Restaurant Association show. And I drove her and her, because they work with ICRA, which is a healthcare program here in the US. And so I was taking them to see all the people that I know to try to get them, situated with introducing the healthcare program to all these people. And she was like, you really should start a regional training forum here in Colorado, because why not? Jay, because all the time I have. Sure, let's do it. So
I love how you say you don't say no.
I don't. It's great. I mean, why not? So I don't know if you've heard the term worthy rivals. I had a great connection send this to me actually on LinkedIn. But so I said, okay, fine. It's an extension of Chart. It's essentially the big conference, but in a little forum twice a year in your local market, so that people can engage more and learn. And then they come to the big conference. It's just great because it engages more people to learn more. You share best practices. If somebody's looking for a job, it's a great place too, because people are more open to talking about if they're looking for a job or if somebody's hiring. So I said, okay, well, I need to find somebody to get this thing off the ground with me. Who's in Colorado? Well, my worthy rival, Matt with Modern Training, because we don't do any custom stuff. Well, he does all custom stuff. So I call him a worthy rival because we're not really competing. And he's great. But we both do all of this type of training. So it's perfect. So we created a regional training forum here, which then allows people in Colorado who may or may not be able to make it to the conference to have an extension of the conference here.
Wow.
So it's great. So then I got asked this last conference to be on the conference team. So I will be doing that in March. So I'm booked out through.
Oh my God.
So that was a long-winded answer to your question, but lots of shows coming up. I've got some more state association shows, which is great. Some personal travel. And I'm going to try to slide in some more webinars. I'm meeting with Mia, the allergic girl on Instagram is her name. She is so sharp as a whip. This girl has over 50 allergies. She is going to be a 50? Psychologist. Yes. So we are discussing challenges in restaurants, how we can work on retention, communication, why training is so important, and just all of the key factors to make it, a better space for everybody to dine out, and all the things that we're doing with FIG and just anything we can do. That's what I'm doing. Like I take on any project, just give it to me.
I love it. I love how you're growing this. I see that there's so much passion in you and you're contagious. I tell you, I love it. It's awesome. You rock. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for I know you're busy and all this stuff, and thanks for rescheduling because of my my Friday. But I want to thank you and just for being a rock star in the industry, doing what you do. The National Wrestling Association is such a, I get to work with you guys a little bit with the show, and you guys are just top notch. There's no one better than you guys. And I just want to thank you for that. And I hope we get to do more stuff together.
Well, that's the goal, right?
Yeah, well, it is the goal. It definitely is a goal. So Rebecca, everyone can Google, just Google her. But you can go over, check her out on LinkedIn, and we'll put your information on the bottom of our show and stuff. And I just want to thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jay. It's always a pleasure to chat with you and an honor to be on the show.
Awesome. And everyone else, stay tuned. We're back again, I think a few more times this week. Anyways, just Google us too. Anyways, have a good one. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jay.
Don't go anywhere. I got some stuff to chat with you. Anyways.
Perfect.